How you doing? So today I want to walk you through creating a model-driven application. This is slightly different from the Canvas applications on PowerApps, but allows you to build sort of more systematic way. So let's get started. Give me a second here. Let me share my screen. Wonderful. So the first thing you need to know about building a model-driven application is what's called the Microsoft Dataverse. Now, you probably might have heard of this. It used to be called a Common Data Model, Common Data Service. This is a term that you probably will see in some documentation, but that is what today is called the Microsoft Dataverse. The Dataverse, think of it as a centralized database for all data that belongs to your organization. And so the thing it tries to achieve is to create a consistent experience in terms of data across the organization. So if we're going to create a table called accounts, meaning a customer, it's going to be accounts across all your applications. And that's one of the beauties about model-driven application. So right in front of you, you see PowerApps. You just go to make.powerapps.com. And you'll land on this page. The first thing you want to do is go and look at tables. Now, in older documentation, this used to be called entities, and you'll still see bits and pieces of it, but that's it. So now you see here a list of different already pre-populated or pre-created tables, or in some places we'll call them entities. Now, the idea is that some of them are already created, some of them are custom made. You notice some of them are already made myself, but some of them are standard. So if it's accounts, it's going to be accounts across the organization. If it's a business unit, if it's a different template, a recurring appointment, we want to make sure that this is consistent across the organization. Now, one of the key things you need to know about creating tables and entities is a little bit of database management. So you kind of need to understand how to create different tables and create relationships between these tables. Now, in these tables, we can go in and look at, give an example, the accounts table. And just as any other database service that you use, you already see there are already fields that are pre-populated. So whether it's your addresses, whether it's created on, whether it's emails, owners, so these are already pre-created inside your table or entity. And the idea that you can already start using these, or you can add very interesting ones. Now, just as any other database service, you can create relationships. And this is to say, hey, how do I create either one-to-many relationship or a many-to-many relationship with another table? So give an example, if I'm creating a customer has multiple orders, I do a many orders to one customer relationship. So you can create relationships. That's the same way you do on any other database service. Interesting thing about this is you can create also business rules. You can create very interesting rules around how you want this data accessed or how data moves around. The other things you also create is different views. So you want to have different views of this data. So give an example, if it's active customers, you want to have a specific view of that, and you can create filters for this view. And how do we get data into these forms into this database is through forms, and that's sort of what you interact with. And they're already pre-created ones, and this is one of the things that I think I love about PowerApps is that you don't have to actually spend a lot of time pre-creating a lot of things. A lot of it is already created for you. And you notice some of them are main forms, some of them are quick view, and I'll show you where that's relevant. You can create different dashboards for different people to look at any kinds of data, and you can go in and look at the data. At this point, we don't have any data in here, but you can import data from quite a number of sources. In fact, if I probably come here and say get data, you will see that we're able to pull data from quite a number of sources. So whether it's an Azure database, it's an Oracle database, whether it's a SharePoint list, whether it's a CSV file, a PostgreSDB, you have quite a number of options that you can pull data from. And so this is just a couple of examples of how you can do that. Cool. So let's go back to tables. Now, in this case, I want to create a table called quotes. So in this case, I want to create a way for me to manage what quotes I send out. And let's assume that I'm a business. So I'll come here and do new table. I'll call it quotes. Let's put a capital Q over there. I'll give this as a quote name. And I can enable this entity or this table to have attachments. So I'll just click some of that there. Click that. It'll probably give me a pop-up, and you notice it'll first create my first field, and as it provisions, it'll provision standard fields that I need to. So in any database, these are some of the standard records you get. You want to know who modified what, when, where. And that's some of the beauties about PowerApps. Cool. So once you've created these tables, you can create different relationships, and you can say, this quotes, and let's say I want to make sure that this quotes are tied to a customer. So I can go and say, hey, there are certain fields, and I want many-to-one relationships with my accounts table, and I'll call that accounts, and I'll just leave that there. And just like that, you've created two tables with different database. Cool. I'll see you on the next one.